everyone, welcome back. It's Moa, aka Swedish Whiskey Girl, and today we're here with Aerstone, the Land Cask. This is a 10-year-old single malt whiskey made by William Grant & Sons, and it's bottled at 40% ABV. And this is quite a good price, I would say. It's one that you can usually find in supermarkets here in the UK, and I think it's around £30 for a 10-year-old whiskey. You of course don't know what whiskey's in it. I mean, it's William Grant & Sons, so could it be Ilse Bay that are able to do lots of different styles, perhaps? Who knows? But they have this land cask and they have the sea cask. And this is, to me, a little bit confusing, because the land cask is a peated and rich style of whiskey. And the sea cask is a kind of a light and smooth style of whiskey. And to me, when you say coastal, because I know the sea cask, or like if you mention the sea, I would think coastal or briny or maybe peat influenced. And if you say land or highland, for example, I would probably think a less peated version. But I think the land cask is called the land cask because they're using highland peat to make this whiskey. And in the sea cask, it's named the sea cask because it's maturing by the sea. So yeah, it's two kind of interesting styles, and I think on the bottle, just gonna double check some, right? It says distilled and matured at our Lowland single malt distillery in Garvan, and of course on the site of Garvan you do have Ilse Bay, so it could be a link, I don't know. What do you think? And yeah, so we're gonna have a little taste of it. Sometimes I think, of course, baseline, if you like it, it's good to you. I think this is one that some people would turn their nose up to because of the price and because of maybe its availability. Of course, I know some people don't like drinking whiskey at 40%, so then this might not be for you. But I do think it's an interesting alternative on the market. So let's have a little look on the nose. Initially, the first thought is that it's quite a citrusy smoke. And almost like lemon hard candies. Maybe? It's a little bit funky on the nose, which I think I recognize it from some peated highlands because it's not an Islay peat. It definitely has a different peat influence. But definitely citrusy, like lemon hard candies. Definitely a smoke there. It's not super powerful, but it is there. It's like a lemony kind of more gentle smoke. I'm trying to identify that funky notes. And it's not unpleasant, it's just that it is, I think a lot of people find it a little bit different, probably. It's almost like a mixture between metallic and vegetal, but not, it's more clean and cold in the aromas than like your vegetal kind of bitterness. It's more just like a forest or jungle vegetal influence that mixes with something colder, which is that kind of metallic note, I think. And I think when it mixes with the smoke, it also, because those influences really kind of belong to the smoke, and it makes it very unique. Let's have a taste and we'll see if that makes more sense. Oh, a very refreshing mouthfeel. Definitely peated. A little bit metallic on the palate and quite gentle still. And the smoke is there. I think the refreshing feeling might come from the lower ABV. Well, of course, it's only lower if you're used to higher strength spirits. The smoke isn't as citrusy on the palate. But what kind of smoke? It's a bit charcoaly, like a little bit charry, but almost like a fruity smoke. But a refreshing, clean, crisp smoke. I think if you're getting into peat, you might like this. And if you like a refreshing peated whiskey, you might like this. I mean, I like it. It's definitely something I would sip maybe with a barbecue, or just as kind of a something that isn't so challenging. It's not very difficult. It's just pleasant, I'd say. Charcoaly, it's not very robust. It's definitely more, I'm trying to think if I can explain clean and crisp in a better way, but that's kind of refreshing. It's just quite, it almost reminds me of the same sensation I can get from a Chivas I can't speak anymore. A Chivas 12, because it's quite refreshing and it's quite easygoing and it has a good flavour definitely, but you just kind of sit and enjoy it without being too involved and kind of searching and quite, I don't know, it's not a challenge. I think that makes sense to a lot of people, because I think if you have tried whiskey, you can see it from my perspective, but explaining it to someone who's not that used to whiskey, I think it will be a little bit more tricky, because it is smoky, but it's also not, there's not too many layers, so I don't think you will get too overwhelmed. If you don't like smoke and you're not used to smoke, you might think this is quite robust still, but comparing to a lot of other whiskies, especially kind of Islay whiskies that might sit at the same percentage and be the same kind of age, it is lighter and cleaner and crisper. And definitely I think the mouthfeel, but also the flavours feel refreshing. A little bit pear fruitiness. A pear fruitiness that belongs to the smoke. A little bit of citrus, but like almost like a yuzu, sweet citrus flavour. And I don't really know, if you haven't tried yuzu, that might be a very niche tasting note. And I apologise, I know I use niche tasting notes. But in a way to describe the flavour as best as I possibly can, sometimes you do have to use that because sweet citrus can be so vague. But basically, if you try a lemon, imagine that lemon has the sweetness of an orange, but still the lemon flavour. In a way, that's kind of yuzu. Still not the best description perhaps, but try yuzu, it's lovely. Very funky nose, not as funky on the palate. I would say. I would love to hear what you think. Have you tried Aerstone, the land cask? And maybe you've tried it next to the sea cask. How would you compare them? I of course love hearing your thoughts. And if you like what I'm doing here on YouTube and my other social channels, I'd be absolutely over the moon if you consider using my affiliate links the next time you're shopping with either Master Malt, the Whisky Exchange, or the Scotch Malt Whisky Society. All that information is of course in the description below, as well as links to my website, my Instagram, my Teespring shop, and of course my Patreon. As always, a massive thank you to my wonderful supporters on Patreon. I appreciate your support so incredibly much. But I hope you've all had an absolutely wonderful day. Sláinte Skål.